Oh, hello. This is the first video in a while that I've really struggled to find the motivation to work on. So I can only assume that this series is poisoning me yet again. So, the Wii U. It existed, which is special because it means that this entire console has the exact same pros list as the next Sonic game we're looking at, Sonic Lost World, a game that started development right after Colors finished, and was Sonic Team's attempt to experiment with the Sonic formula to create a brand new experience. Why would they do this when they were doing really well by just improving upon the formula established by Sonic Unleashed? Well, it's Sonic Team, remember? They're the only developers that I understand less than Capcom. The bulk of the levels are on these twisting tubes that were apparently inspired by Jack and the Beanstalk, whatever the fuck that even means. Apparently the first few levels had to continually undergo changes as they kept tweaking Sonic's control, leading to the early levels being remade multiple times. The focus was going to be once again more on platforming, so they changed how much control the player has over the speed. And they were adding a parkour mechanic to keep the flow going. All ideas that could work in theory, but does this really look appealing? There's a clear inspiration from Mario Galaxy, but this seems less like Sonic Galaxy and more like an attempt at doing Mario Galaxy while being different enough to not be called a ripoff, which oftentimes leads to the game not being great at all and then still being called a ripoff. They chose to make this game for the Wii U and 3DS because Sonic games had been doing well on Nintendo consoles. What they didn't account for was the fact that the Wii U was... well, it was the Wii U. I have a lot of history with this game. I used to play it quite a bit as a kid, though I remember even then not liking many of the levels past World 1. But hey, back then I got all the red rings, which is how you unlock Super Sonic, and before I even started the game I realized I would have to delete that save file, meaning if I wanted to play as Super Sonic in the future I'd have to get all the red rings again. And I hesitated for a bit. I wanted to play the Wii U version because I'm a grown-ass man, not a little baby who would play it on PC. But for a moment I considered switching just so I could keep this save file if I ever wanted to revisit the game as Super Sonic. But then it hit me. I don't even want to play this game now. I'm definitely not going to come back to it in the future. I haven't touched this game in years, so why would I stress about a save file for a game I'll never play again? Before even going in, I knew this was going to be a one-time trip, and to me that says more about this game than I could say in a full review. That's not going to stop me though, because I didn't play through this whole game just to get 2 minutes of a review out. The game opens with Sonic and Tails attempting to free Flickies from Eggman when they crash land on the Lost Hex. What is the Lost Hex? That's the wrong question. You should be asking why. I don't think they ever explain what this thing is. The hexagonal theme is only really present in the overworld, not at all in the level design. The levels are mostly just tubes or planets akin to Super Mario Galaxy. Is the Lost Hex a planet? It's in the atmosphere, so how is it even lost in the first place? Is it like Little Planet, how you can see it from Earth once a year? None of this is explained or even matters in the first place. Same goes for the new antagonists, the Zeddy. Eggman has been using them to get Flickies to power his machines, and he plans on using this big machine to sap power from the world to make his machines better. Eventually, Sonic kicks the magic conch shell that Eggman was using to control the Deadly Six, meaning they could take control of his robots and turn them against him. So Eggman teams up with Sonic and Tails to stop the Zeddy and shut off the machine that is draining the world's energy. There's a little tension because Tails got mad that Sonic is trusting Eggman to be more knowledgeable on how to shut down a machine that he built than Tails. Tails eventually gets kidnapped, saving Sonic from a trap. Eggman falls into lava. Oh look, Tails is evil now, except he's not, and they spoiled that he's not by showing him tinkering with the roboticizer and killing any impact that this scene could have had.
Destroy Sonic. What?
He missed. They were right there. How did you miss? Sonic beats the Zeddy, but oh no, Eggman survived and he's still evil, so Sonic stops him. Roll credits. Oh, and Knuckles and Amy were there at some times. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give this story bad. I don't like the tension between Sonic and Tails, not that it's really there in the first place or that I even really care. In all fairness, the cutscenes are a little entertaining at times. It's not like there's no value to what's happening.
If it pleases the court, all those who think Eggman is a total bonehead raise their hands. Well, there you go, folks. The motion is passed unanimously.
I didn't raise my hand. Only next time, I'll make them stronger. Honey, why isn't my jetpack working?
Maybe because I borrowed the exhaust hose?
Sonic!
But any tension is killed by the fact that I don't like the Deadly Six. First of all, they're the only Zeddy we ever see, so the Deadly Six title feels unnecessary, especially since they suck at killing things. The only semblance of personality they have is boiled down to one word each: crazy, fat, old, girl, emo, and leader. They are draining the Earth's energy because it makes them stronger, but that sure isn't reflected in the boss fights. These guys are all pathetic. Not the first time a Sonic game has had a story that's nothing to write home about, but this one is just way worse than the likes of Colors or Generations. I don't buy into the tension, I don't like the Deadly Six, and I still do not know what the Lost Hex even is. The best they can do is be mildly entertaining at times, and even then those moments are few and far between. Maybe I'd go easier on it if it was a game I liked more, but it's not. I don't mind them trying something other than Boost, even though they were starting to get the formula down really well. This was a game for a new console that wasn't looking to be nearly as successful as the Wii, so it makes sense to try something new, especially since the Boost formula was criticized for being too restrictive, and you could argue that it was getting a little stale at this point, so ideally more focus on platforming should be welcomed. But this game just controls poorly. You have a run button, which I'm fine with, but it doesn't feel good. You lose a lot of speed when you turn, and it's not even really that fast. For real speed, you can spin dash, which naturally is harder to control and be precise with, but I wish there was a way to get satisfying speed without that compromise. Like making the run just a little bit faster so I can stick with that while still feeling like I'm actually going somewhere. But the jump between walking, running, and spin dashing just feels too big. The main addition to the gameplay was the parkour mechanic. So this activates when you run into a wall, whether you want it to or not. It doesn't feel great, maybe I'm just not doing it right, but unless I'm running up a wall, just straight lining it, it feels wrong, like I'm not getting enough speed or something. And jumping off walls also feels like shit, because sometimes you just don't get any distance and it feels like a complete waste of time. Not that it matters much though, because you're not really ever forced to do it. And besides not controlling all that well, the level design just feels boring. I'm not immersed by tubes, there's nothing to explore, there's just another side that you can walk over to. There are a few different paths, but they're often just a little bit out of the way, and I don't feel fulfilled the same way I do when I take another path in the previous games. Also, fuck World 4. I don't even remember what it's called, Frozen Frenzy or something? This world has ice skating, which feels like shit. You can't double jump, you can't homing attack, you can't control yourself all that well, and if that's not enough, this snowball is even worse. It's like they scientifically engineered the least fun level possible. The casino's kind of fun, I like the casino level. And the boss has ice physics, so see all the problems above. Speaking of the bosses, I know I already mentioned it, but what the hell happened? You barely even have to try with these guys. They go down in a few hits, which can stack in a mechanic that I don't even understand. And the patterns are just so simple, there's little to no challenge to it.
Only the Reaper wins in the end.
That's it? That's it? The homing attack has this kick mechanic you do by pressing X instead of A, and you use it to get through enemy guards. Though some enemies have no clear indication as to whether a regular homing attack will suffice or if you need to kick them, which just feels cheap. And oh boy, how could I forget about the Wisps? Yes, they're back, even some new ones, which I'm not opposed to as much as other Sonic fans are. They were a neat part of Colors. But did you forget that this was a Wii U game? Every single Wisp in this game requires the gamepad in some form. From tilting, to touchscreen aiming, to gyro aiming, to whatever the hell the music note one is. Oh, but actually for some of them you don't even need the gamepad, because you could just use the analog stick. And they don't tell you that. And if I can get away with it, I just avoid these at all costs. The hell happened? But what really kills the game for me, especially when starting a new file, is the flicky collecting. You can find small flicky capsules in levels and kill enemies to collect more flickies, which are required for progression. But you're likely not going to have enough anyway, so you need to go get more red rings to do these carnivals that require the touchscreen. Even though you can't see the full screen on the touchscreen, you still need to look at the TV if you want to know what's going on. But if you want to control it well and know what you're actually doing with your finger, you need to look at the touchscreen, which is restrictive. You see why this is a problem? You see why this maybe isn't fun? And even then, with some of these, you only end up with a handful of flickies, so you still don't have enough. You just have to fuck off and go do a level again so you have enough flickies. It's just needless padding and I don't like it. The game isn't all that long, but at the end of the day, it's just not fun. I can see the vision a little bit. I don't hate the idea of Sonic's take on Mario Galaxy. I just wish they had a more clear idea on this game's identity when doing it, because it just feels like some weird mishmash between Mario Galaxy and weirdly enough Donkey Kong Country. The controls feel undercooked, the levels are super uninteresting, and it was released on the goddamn Wii U. This game was destined to fail. The end is in sight. Sonic Forces is the last game that's going to get a standard wise review before I can focus more on the massive review that will be the Sonic Frontiers video that's already way longer than it fucking should be. But I feel the need to stick with it. I've been trying to stray out of my comfort zone more with videos this year. I already have another video that's like the U-Draw video planned. I haven't even started spending money for it, but I'm already working on the follow-up to that. But don't worry, wise reviews are not going anywhere. There will be another marathon once this one ends. We still have one more game though with this blue motherfucker. So until then, leave poor AJ Forces a joke using the next game's title in this outro. Oh, there's a secret world? I forgot. No. No, I'm not doing that.